It's the 1960s and you've got go-go dancers. The photo shows the events that led to the creation of the Lacey Act, which was the first anti-poaching law in the United States back in 1894. The men who captured the poacher Howell posed with 8 confiscated bison heads. Kim Basinger and Sean Connery starred in Never Say Never Again, released in 1983. Southport, England, 1928. This was taken at the actual moment of the overturning of a racing car driven by Miss Mary Cunliffe, an English driver, during a 100-mile race on the Southport Sands. It shows her father, who was riding with her, being hurled to his death. Betty Brosmer, one of the most iconic pin-up models of the mid-20th century, famed for her striking figure and impossible waist. Soldiers are learning the projection of motion pictures. This is part of occupational therapy at Walter Reed General Hospital in Washington, D.C., USA. It's around 1914 to 1918. Tom Cruise and Rebecca de Mornay in Risky Business, 1983. Two Maori women guides, Eileen and Pipi, are outdoors in front of Tapuia, which is a Maori pa or fortress. This is a knuckle duster revolver from 1870. The photo shows the happy owner of a 1955 Messerschmitt KR 175. It was the 1990s. Alright, so there was an Australian ski lift operator, and this was before they had to wear a uniform for work. This was up at Mount Hotham back in 1979. Italian students attacked a Yugoslav car near the US Embassy in Rome in November 1953. A wounded World War II soldier is showing off his guitar to Helen Keller. It was 1945. Croatian soldiers are burning captured Yugoslav flags. This happened in December of 1991 during the Croatian War of Independence. In 1998, Honduras built a bridge over the Choluteca River, but Hurricane Mitch rerouted the river. Parcels are being sent to the front lines. This is at an American Red Cross facility in Paris in July of 1918. Pima Indians with dreadlocks from the 1800s. A Buddhist priest is giving a sermon in French Indochina in Saigon, Vietnam. This was around 1910. There are protesters on the streets of Lisbon during the Carnation Revolution, which was a military coup by military officers. It overthrew the authoritarian Estado Novo government back in 1974. the ball turret gunner of B-17G Flying Fortress, serial number 43-38852, Humpty Dumpty, of the 351st BS, 100th BG, is showing off flak damage. It's just above his position, and it was in 1944, Rally for the Legalization of Abortion, Italy, 1975. Mariah Carey, the 90s. A state trooper is warning a driver who's trying to nap on the side of the road that a possible serial killer has been targeting sleeping truckers around western Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio in 1953. Babe Ruth is given a Hollywood welcome as he arrives in Los Angeles in 1927. A nobleman from Dahomey on the 24th of February 1930. A Swedish boy is painting a girl in 1917. A listening device used to detect the approach of Zeppelins, operated by a Spanish soldier in 1917. George Clooney in the 1970s in high school. (1972) in Holland. Young girls Nina Nikolaeva and Valia Volkova assemble PPD submachine guns in besieged Leningrad in 1942. Martin Scorsese on the set of Taxi Driver from 1976. As Mikkelsen during the 90s. In 1981, Apple's first CEO, Michael Scott, decided to fire 40 employees. After that, he gathered the remaining employees round a keg of beer and said, "I'll fire people until it's fun again." Following this event, he was moved to vice chairman. Betty Robinson got into a plane crash and was mistakenly pronounced dead. She spent 7 weeks in a coma, and it took her 2 years to learn to walk again. 5 years later, she won a gold medal in the Olympic Games of 1936. The latest X-ray apparatus is being operated by a radiologist. He's wearing the old-type protectors, which aren't necessary anymore with modern equipment. This is at a radiological exhibition in Central Hall, Westminster, in 1934. There's a pay television set from 1963. On the right side, there's a slot meter. It lets you put in a 6-pence coin, and that gives you an hour of viewing. George Lucas and Mark Hamill are on the set of Star Wars Episode IV in Tunisia in 1976. The radio hat came out in early 1949, and it cost $7.95. It's about Pearl Harbor. The poster is Italian and it's from 1941. There's a line to buy tickets to see the Beatles. Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas, 1996. Alright, so it's Danny Trejo pumped up on Venice Beach. This was in the early 80s. Elizabeth Hurley on the Notting Hill red carpet in 1999. Charles Charlemont, a French boxer, is teaching a lady savate, also known as French boxing, in 1921. She's learning it for self-defense. Young women wearing their disco finest in the 1970s. In 1980, the crew of a Texaco oil rig working in Louisiana's Lake Peigneur accidentally drilled into a mineshaft, turning the lake into a massive whirlpool so powerful it began pulling water from the Gulf of Mexico. Emily Diana Watts, born 1867, died 1968, gently shows Mary Russell proper punching technique in jiu-jitsu. She learned this back in the 1880s. Claudia Cannadine in Austerlitz, 1960. Claudia Cardinali in the 1960s. Keith Richards, Tina Turner and David Bowie, 1983. Fidel Castro smoking a cigar and he's wearing 2 Rolex watches. This was during a meeting with Khrushchev in 1963. Piccadilly, London, 1955. Audrey Hepburn is in a field with a windmill in Sussex, England, 1951. Testing of the experimental speedboat by Thompson and Reed. This was in the USA, in Michigan, in 1940. Walter Macfarlane of the Saracen Foundry is standing by a lighting standard. The standard was manufactured by his company in Glasgow, Scotland. Kamehameha III, who ruled from 1825 to 1854, was the King of Hawaii. He was the first monarch of the sovereign island kingdom to be photographed. It's a daguerreotype from around 1853. The year is 1940. We're in New York. A rooftop walk is happening. Soviet IS-3 heavy tanks at the Berlin Victory Parade marking their public debut. It was September 7th, 1945. Soviet soldiers are raising the flag over the Reichstag. This took place in Berlin in May 1945 during World War II. During the Victorian era, people took baths in rocking tubs. These weren't just for fun, they were invented in 1891 to imitate the motion of sea waves, which people believed would cure a wide range of illnesses. Eminem is with his rap group D12 in the 1990s. Linda Carter in the 1980s, Wonder Woman. Patricia Nixon, the United States President's wife, tries ice cream during her visit to the USSR in 1972. Christopher Kamen Lee from Power Rangers in Space the 90s. A coal machine distributor in England. In 1939, the Antarctic snow cruiser was unveiled as a futuristic beast meant to conquer the frozen continent. Instead, it became one of history's most spectacular engineering flops. Soviet world champion swimmer Shavash Karapetyan, who saved the lives of 20 people in 1976 when he saw a trolley bus plunge into a reservoir. The 1980s. Princess Gurama, who lived from 1841 to 1864, was the daughter of the former Rajah of Coorg. She was baptised in the chapel at Buckingham Palace on July 1st, 1852. She took the name Victoria, and Queen Victoria was her sponsor. This is a portrait of a young Tamil girl, Eliza Rahama Sidmore, from around 1907. It's a beauty salon, the year is 1958. The Hoot Hoot Ice Cream Shack. It was built in Los Angeles in the mid-1920s. This quirky owl-shaped parlour first stood on East Valley Boulevard in Rosemead before it was moved to Long Beach. It was demolished in the 1950s. Wives are waving as a military train pulls away. England, 1940s. The flag that inspired the Star-Spangled Banner, photographed in the Boston Navy Yard in 1873. Young Jay-Z at the beginning of his career in the early 1990s. There's a dancer, and they're dressed like an ostrich. They're in the Foley's Bergerac show at the London Hippodrome. This was in England in 1951. Nizia Antelme Philippe, a French healer and mystic with his dog, in 1893. Bill Clinton. He was born in 1946 in Hope, Arkansas. He was the 42nd President of the United States. He served as President from 1993 to 2001. Before becoming President, he was the Governor of Arkansas for 12 years. Actress Sandra Bullock at her home in 1978. Dutch boys ride the Freedom Train after liberation from Germany, 1945. Young President James Abram Garfield, 1831 to 1881. A Glass of Milk for the Cat, Amsterdam, 1953. Beauty pageant contestants put paper bags over their heads at Blackpool Baths, 1937. In 1996, Princess Diana flew to Greece for the funeral of the 27-year-old Giannis Kaliviotis, who lost his battle against cystic fibrosis. She had met him at Royal Brompton Hospital and was extremely moved by his determination to live. There are 3 girls strolling past 2 British soldiers. The soldiers are keeping watch for snipers after some rioting in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This was in 1981. Cheese market in Alkmaar, Netherlands, 1900. United States Marines and sailors are posing on an unidentified ship, probably either the USS Pennsylvania or USS Arizona, in 1918. Vivian Leigh on the set of The Roman Spring of Mrs. Stone, 1961. The carnivals at Buyers Eat Cafe. There are waiters wearing masks. This is in Munich, Germany in 1933. Elizabeth Taylor in the 70s. Bessie Coleman was the first black woman to earn an international pilot's license in 1921. She trained in France after being denied entry to United States flight schools because of her race. Sophia Loren pressing her hands into wet cement at the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Hollywood. A boy is outside playing with a toy gun during the Troubles in Northern Ireland in 1981. Courtney Cox on a motorcycle, 1987. Raquel Welch, 1971. Cigarettes with your in-flight meal, 1950s. Miss Atomic Bomb of Sin City. Charlie Chaplin in the 1910s. Neil Armstrong is standing in front of the X-15 rocket plane in 1960. This is Madonna. She's wearing a light-coloured top, she has dark hair and is looking at the camera. It's a yearbook photo. Alan Rickman, hanging from the perms to shoot his climactic scene for Die Hard, 1988. Bundestag member Wolfgang Hedler from the German party, after being beaten up by Social Democratic Party deputies. This happened because of his previous pro-Hitler and anti-Semitic speech. It took place in Bonn, West Germany, on March 10, 1950. American athlete Jesse Owens in London after winning 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. London, England, 1936. Children Rita and Ruth, from the Danish embassy, are riding through the streets of Washington on 3-wheeled, foot-powered scooters in 1920. The National Archives building is under construction in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. The photo was taken in 1934. Gerald Ford, probably the 1930s. The Terex 3319 Titan dump truck. It's a Canadian dump truck made by Terex. It was built in 1974. When it was first made, and for a long time after, it was the biggest and heaviest duty vehicle in the world. Frida Kahlo, New York, 1946, photographed by Nicholas Murray. Welsh strongwoman Miriam Kate Williams, also known as Vulcana, is shown here in her show outfit and her trademark long hair. This would have been around 1890. The last living heir of Kalakaua is in his thoughts as he says goodbye to the last sovereign of the Hawaiian kingdom. Prince Kuhio mourns Queen Liliuokalani at her state funeral in 1917 in the territory of Hawaii. An ironworker is working during the construction of the Columbia Tower in Seattle in 1984. Che Guevara on the left in Cuba during a time of revolution, 1959. Alright, so this is about a $5 bill from 1950. It's from before they started printing "In God We Trust" on all US currency. Jennifer Aniston at her prom in 1987. Workers of the Calumet and Hecla Mining Company in Michigan are getting ready to go down into the copper mines to work in 1906. Until 1915, it was the deepest mine in the world, at 1,676 meters. James Baldwin with a Cigarette, 1969. A teacher watches over her students as they receive lessons from the Library Media Center in 1972. Letitia Casta in Cannes, 1998. Pin-up models are washing a Miami Beach Fire Department car. This took place in Florida in 1955. World champion Garry Kasparov walks away in disgust after losing his rematch against the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue in 1997. A young lady is at a spinning wheel in Ireland in 1905. Magic the Gathering cards. This trading card game came out in 1993 and is still going strong. But it's the vintage cards that are really worth something now, and a lot of them sell for hundreds of dollars on eBay.